Hi guys! So I looked back at the video from yesterday, and it seems like when I tried to turn my phone sideways, it didn't really go over very well with the video. So today I'm just gonna try to keep it as steady as I can and hope that it's better. But I hope we had some success with King Henry yesterday, because honestly it's moving the decimal point, so something that we should be pretty comfortable with. But I want to do a couple of things today with King Henry. So I want to do 3 practice problems, and then I want to start using greater than, less than, or equal to symbols so that we can compare and see which one is greater. So I'm going to flip the camera and I'm going to show you my math notebook. It's just right where I stopped writing from the video yesterday. So if I just draw the line across, okay, I'm just going to put the date. So for you guys, it'll be 3/21. And then I'm just going to put metric conversions. Day 2. So remember, if I am talking too fast, or if I'm writing too fast, just pause the video and then unpause it whenever, you're ready to go. So let's say that this is example 1. I want to do 3 things that look exactly like what we were doing yesterday, and then we're going to try to start comparing. So let's take 0 and 827,000. Let's say hectograms. So at the end of the video yesterday, we started just using the letters, so hectograms could also just be HG, okay? And let's say that that is equal to some amount of grams. So yesterday what I was trying to get you guys to realize is that this part, the hecto, that's the prefix. But grams is the unit. And I know that grams is King Henry because King Henry can be liters, meters, or grams. So if I know it's grams and I know it's King Henry, all we're going to do is write the letters for King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. And then we need to decide where we should start. So if you remember from yesterday, the big thing I said was it doesn't matter if it's on, or doesn't matter what side of the equal sign it's on. It matters if there are the numbers and the words there. So for this one, we're going to start at hectograms, because hectograms is where I have the number and the words. I can't start at grams because there is no number here. So hecto, the prefix starts with H. So you find H in your letters for King Henry, and I'm going to put an S up here because that's where I'm going to start. Grams is, there's no prefix here. So because there's no prefix, it's just the unit. So anytime it's just liters, meters, or grams, it's just the unit name. So that's my U, my unit. So I'll stick an E here because that's where I'm going to end. So this would be moving from the starting point to the ending point. This would be 1, 2, but it's 2 loops to the right. So then I'm going to take the number that I'm given, which in this case is 0 and 827 thousandths, and I'm going to take that decimal point and I'm going to move it 1, 2 places to the right. So now you can keep the 0 there if that helps you and makes sense. I'm going to plug in what I have. My decimal point is now between the 2 and the 7. So this tells me that 0 and 827 thousandth hectograms is equal to 82 and 7/10 grams. And it still is 82 because this is my number, but there's nothing in the hundreds place. The hundreds place is blank. So it's the exact same as this. So it is equal to 82 and 7/10 grams. So now that we've had a little bit of a reminder, I'm going to ask you to try one where I ask you just try it, pause it, and then you can come back and get the answer. So let's say we're going to do 1 4/10 meters, and meters could be shown just using the M, is equal to some amount, let's say, of decimeters. But because there is either deca or deci, I'm going to go ahead and write deci so you see it. Okay, so deci, the D-E-C-I, that's my prefix, but the unit name is meters for both. And since meters is one of the 3 units that King Henry measures, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write letters for King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. I cannot start at decimeters, and I cannot start at decimeters because in this example, there's no number here for me. So I have to start at meters because that's where I have the number and the word. So there is no prefix. Meters is just the unit. So I'm going to circle the U and I'm going to put an S there because that's where I'm going to start. Deci, because there are 2 D's, everything after the U ends in an I. So this is deci, centi, and milli. But if you still are a little bit confused, you can go back and look because everything is just right here for you. Deci, centi, and milli. So when it's asking you for decimeters, deci is this D right here. So I'm going to put an E here because that's where I'm going to end. So moving from meters to decimeters, that would be 1 loop, but it's 1 loop to the right. So when you figure out what you're doing, then you'll take the number you're given, which for this example was 1 4/10, and I'm going to move this decimal point 1 time to the right. So I end up with 1 4 and a decimal point at the end, which means 14. So 1 4/10 meters is equal to 14 decimeters. All right, so here's one for you to try on your own. Let's say we do 275 centimeters. Okay, so meters is M and centi is C, so centimeters is equal to some amount of hectometers. The C for centi and the H for hecto, those, you guys, are my prefixes. But because they have the same M for meters, they have the same unit, and meters is one of the 3 units of measurement that King Henry measures. So this is still a King Henry problem. I am not starting at hectometers, and I'm not starting there because there's no number here. I have to start where there's a number and the letters, or and the words. So cm is centimeters, but I'm just finding the C in the King Henry died letters. That's where I'm going to start. Hectometers, hecto starts with H, so I'm going to find the H. That's where I'm going to end. So I'm not looping in between the letters. I'm just going from letter to letter to letter to letter. So to get from centimeters to hectometers, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's 4 loops to the left. So then I'm going to take my number, 275. There is no decimal point. I want you to pause and then unpause when you can tell me how many hectometers is 275 centimeters equal to. If you tried it, I'm taking this decimal point and I am moving 1, 2, 4 times to the left. And anytime I have an extra empty loop, I'm going to stick a 0 there. So that tells me, I've got a decimal point, a 0, a 2, a 7, and a 5, that 275 centimeters is equal to 275 10,000ths after the decimal point, okay? Please remember that when you're looping the decimal in the number, you're not going from number to number because we don't do that. We're going in between the numbers. It's either got to be in front of or behind a number. That's where a decimal point goes. I'm actually going to give you one more, and then we'll get on to what we need to look at. Let's say we have 15 and 76/100 decaliters. And we want to know how many deciliters that's equal to. Deca and deci those are your prefixes, but they both have the same unit name. Their units are liters. So I'm going to start with decaliters because that's where I have the numbers and the words. But because it's being measured in liters, and liters is one of the 3 units of measurement that King Henry goes with, that tells me all I need to do is write down the letters for King Henry died. So I'm going to write King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Deca is before my unit because after the unit is deci, centi, milli. They all end with I's, and deca does not end with an I, which tells me it's right in front of my unit. And if you're not comfortable with that, just flip the page back and you can find it. It's right before your unit. I'm going to put an S above this because this is where I'm starting. And then deci is after my unit. So I'm going to circle the other D after my U, my unit, and put an E. That's where I'm going to end. So to get from deca to deci, that is 1, 2, but it's 2 loops to the right. So then I'm going to take my number, which was 15 and 76/100ths, and I'm going to move that decimal point 1, 2 times to the right. And it ends up right behind my 6, which is right behind my last number. That's what that's equal to. So I have 15 and 76/100th decaliters is equal to 1,576 deciliters. What we're going to try to do today is use greater than, less than, or equal to. So we're still using King Henry to make conversions, but then we have to take it one step further and we have to be able to compare the conversions that we're making. So I'm going to write down that, let's say, how do we want to say this? Let's just say greater than, less than, or equal to. And we can just say that this is going to be example 1. Let's say that we have 948 milligrams. Okay, and I know that mg is milligrams because grams is the G, it's my unit, and the M, the prefix for milli, that first letter, that's my M, it's milli. So 948 milligrams, and they are going to ask us to compare it to 94 and 8/10 grams. Well, because the G is there, and the G stands for grams for both, and grams is one of the units that King Henry measures, that tells me that all I'm going to do, you guys, is just write down my letters for King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Now, this is a little bit different because they both have numbers and the letters. So it doesn't really matter where you start as long as you can make sure that you're comparing the same unit. So I'm not just looking right now at 948 and 94.8, okay? Because obviously 948 is bigger, but these are not the same unit of measurement right now. This one is in milligrams and this one is grams. So you need to mentally decide, do you want to convert the milligrams to grams, or do you want to convert the grams to milligrams so that you can see what you're looking for? Either way, it's going to get you the same answer. So let's try to, for the first one, take milligrams and go to grams. So I'm going to start here at milligrams, and I'm going to convert to grams so that they're both just going to be in grams and we can see which one is larger. So if we want to change milligrams to grams, we're going to start here at milli. Okay, that's my M. But if we want to convert to grams to see which one is larger, there's no prefix for grams. It's only the one letter, which tells me that the grams is just the unit. So this is going to be my ending point. So to get from milli to grams to the unit, that is going to be 1, 2, 3, but it's 3 loops to the left. Now, I didn't change grams, I changed milligrams. So I'm going to go ahead and I can see that this number is 948. So I'm just going to go right down here where I have a little bit of room. There's no decimal point, so I'll stick it at the back. And I just moved 1, 2, 3 times to the left. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3 times to the left. And notice I'm going in between the numbers. That tells me, because I don't have milligrams anymore, I've converted it to grams, that it's decimal point 948 grams. Now I have grams and grams. But in front of the decimal point on this side, this says 94. There is nothing in front of the decimal point on this side, which means it's just 0. So you start looking at in front of the decimal point, is 94 greater or is 0 greater? If 94 is greater, which it is, then all you have to do is make sure that the mouth is open to the greater number. We're going to keep trying it. We'll do a couple more together just so that we're comfortable. Let's say that this is number 2. Let's say we have 7 hectoliters. Okay, my L is liters, H is hecto. So 7 hectoliters. Let's see if we can get this to focus better. There we go. We want to compare that to 70,000 centiliters. Now, I know they're the same unit because they both have the L, so they're measuring in liters, but this is not just liters, it's hectoliters, and this is not just liters, this is centiliters. So because they're still the L, because they're still measuring in liters, that still is King Henry. You can either go from hectoliters to centiliters, or you can go from centiliters to hectoliters. So let's change the first side because that's what we did last time. Let's take 7 hectoliters and convert them to centiliters, and we'll see which number is a bigger number. Hecto starts with H. So I'll find the H in the letters for King Henry, and I'm going to put an S above it. That's going to be my starting point. I want to convert them into centiliters, so it's the same unit, but centi starts with C, so I'll find the C. I'll put an E above it. That's my ending point. So I'm going to move from hecto to centi. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's 4 loops to the right. So my number was 7, no decimal point. I'll stick it at the back. And I'm going to loop 1, 2, 3, 4 times to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Anywhere that you have extra empty loops, just plug zeros in there. So now the decimal point's at the end. I've got a 7. Oops, I'm actually going to cross this out. I'm going to put it over here. I have a 7. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the decimal point's at the end. And we've now converted from hectoliters to centiliters. So if you look, is 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 7, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the exact same numbers. And because these are the exact same numbers, that tells me that these two things, they're equal. They are equal. I want to try another one, and I will walk you through it. So I hope that you're writing down what I'm writing down. Let's try 3,721 millimeters, and let's compare that to 37 and 2100th meters. This first M for milli, that's the prefix, but they're still both being measured in meters, and meters is King Henry. We can either convert the millimeters to meters, or we can convert the meters to millimeters. Either way, you'll still be able to get an answer. But we've been working from front to back, so I think we're just going to keep with that. So that means I'm going to take these millimeters, and I'm going to convert them just to meters, and then we can compare answers once they have the same ending. So millimeters, my milli is this M right here. That's milli. So I'm going to put an S there. That's where I'm going to start. If I want to convert millimeters just to meters and there's no prefix, that's my unit. So I'll circle the U and put an E. That's my ending point. So to go from millimeters to meters, this is 1, 2, 3, but it's 3 loops to the left. So if I'm going to take this number of 3,721, I'm going to have to move the decimal point 3 times to the left. There is no decimal point, so you guys are going to have to put it at the back. 1, 2, 3, and now my decimal point is right behind the 3. So I'm going to get rid of this 3,000 because now we've converted it. Now the decimal point is right behind the 3. I have a 3, a decimal point, a 7, a 2, a 1. But this is now been converted, so this is meters. So now it's meters and meters. Now you can compare them because they are the same unit. So just look at the number in front of the decimal point. This says 3, this says 37. Well, I would much rather have $37 than $3. So we turn it and we make the mouth point to the bigger number. I would like you guys to try one. So I'm going to get you started. And I know I haven't been great in these videos about letting you try it, but it's hard when you're not here in front of me. So let's say 72 grams. Okay, and let's compare 72 grams to 0 and 72/100th decagrams. Deca is my prefix, but they're both grams. So that's my unit of measurement, and grams is a unit of measurement that can be done using King Henry. So I'm going to get back where I need to be. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write down the letters for King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Because we've been moving from the front to the back, we're just going to keep doing that. So I would like for you guys to go ahead and convert 72 grams and tell me how many decagrams that is equal to. So just let's convert grams to decagrams, and then I want you to unpause me when you're ready and when you know how many decagrams 72 grams is equal to. If you tried this on your own, which I hope you did, grams is just the unit because there's no prefix in front of it. So this right here, you guys, this is my starting point. If I want to convert to decagrams so that we can compare, if you were stuck, I hope you went back in your notebook and you found which D is deca. Deca comes right before my unit, so that tells me that I'm going to circle the D right in front of my U because that's my ending point now. That would be moving from my unit of grams to decagrams. That's just one loop, but it's one loop to the left. So if I'm going to convert 72 grams, there is no decimal point for 72. I stick it at the back, and I'm going to move to the left one time. Well, now it's between, my decimal point is between the 7 and the 2. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to rewrite it so it says 7 2/10 decagrams. Now we're looking and comparing 7 2/10 decagrams to 0 and 72/100th decagrams. I want you to pause me and then unpause me when you can tell me which way is the mouth supposed to be pointing. It's got to go to the bigger number. Take a second and see if you can figure it out. If you're ready and you tried it, which I hope that you did, just focus on the number in front of the decimal point. Over here I have a 7, over here I have 0. Well, I would much rather have $7 than $0, so the mouth should be pointing towards the 7. Let's do one more. Let's say that this is number 5. Let's say 4,000, let's try it. Let's say, hang on, let me get this right. 4,081 and 2/10 centiliters. And let's compare it to 408 and 12/10 liters. So let me get my notebook set up here. The L's are the same. So they're both being measured in liters, but because this has two numbers, this C is my prefix. Okay? So liters is King Henry. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do letters for King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. Because we've just been working from the front to the back, we're going to keep doing that. So let's take the centiliters and let's convert them to liters. Centi is my prefix, and because it starts with C, I'm going to find the C in the letters for King Henry died. That's my starting point. We want to convert them to liters so that we can compare, but because it's just one letter, liters, it's just the L, it's just the unit. There is no prefix. It's just liters by itself, so that's my unit. That's my ending point. So getting me from centi back to liters, back to the unit, that is 1, 2, but it's 2 loops to the left. So I'll take the number that I'm converting, which is 4,081 and 2/10, and I'm going to take the decimal point that's already there, and I'm going to move it 2 times to the left to match what I did in the letters for King Henry. So this is 1, this is 2. Now my decimal point is between the 0 and the 8, so we can get rid of this because we've now converted it. I am now at 40 decimal point 812, and we've converted everything now to liters. So now that they're both liters, we can actually convert. So focus on the number in front of the decimal point. These are not equal. We're either looking at 40 or 408. So let me know when you're ready. You can pause me and unpause me when you're ready to tell me which one is greater. Hopefully you would rather have $408, because I know I would, way more than just $40. Okay, mouth goes to the bigger number. What I'm going to ask you to do for today is a lot like what it looked like yesterday. So I know yesterday's video was kind of a mess. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize that's what was happening, and then now I do, so it's all messy. But what I would like for you to do today is, especially because I know they're not giving you the whole name. I know they're just giving you the letters. So use your chart that you have that you wrote from yesterday. Okay? Key is for kilo. H is for hecto. If they're using a D and they're not telling, they should be telling you whether it's deco or deci, because that's not fair. But if it's just the L, if it's just the M, if it's just the G, those are just the unit. There's no prefix there. C is centi, M is milli. Most of the questions that it's going to ask you to do today look a lot like what we tried yesterday. So you're just converting. And there are a couple that are going to ask you to compare, and you can still go through it as many times as you need to. You don't do it one time. If it takes you 3 tries, that's fine. If you try it 3 times and you're still frustrated, it's okay. Okay? It's hard when you're trying to do it on your own. I do want to say thank you if you keep up with my videos. I know they're long, but you guys know I love to talk, so I can't help that. But I do want to try to make this easy. So if there's any part of this that you don't like, if there's something that it's not working for you, let me know, and I can definitely try to fix it and make things a little bit easier. So I want you to try the thing for Envision for today. It should say Tuesday, March 31st. I think there's like 7 videos or 7 questions maybe for today, and just try them. That's really all I want you to do is try. And when you're ready, there are 3 comparing questions as exit ticket questions. So you're just going to let me know how they compare, and it's going to let me know if you understand it or not. So do your best. Give it a fair shot. All I want you to do is try.